Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Little Give. Go ahead, introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from. Tell us what you're all about.
Hi, Cindy. Thanks so much for having me. My name is Rebecca Psigoda. I live in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm here to talk about some of the ways that I've been able to give back in ways that I never saw coming. Once upon a time, I was a homeless teen on the streets of Los Angeles, and as an adult, and actually as an older adult, I created an empowerment program for youth based on a foundational program by Mike Dooley called Infinite Possibilities. And we can talk more about that. But for now, that's who I am. That's why I'm here. And I hope that you hear some things that you can relate to about the younger you that give you some potential direction on things you can do here today and in the future that will help others.
Wow, I love to hear stories of people who take their pain and turn it to purpose. And you spoke just briefly about, being homeless as a teen. Why don't you talk to the audience a little about that and how that came to be, and then how you kind of moved along your journey?
Okay. So in 2012, my life was kind of a mess. And I got this thing called Notes from the Universe. I'd never heard of it. I didn't know who Mike Dooley was, the gentleman who authors Notes from the Universe. And at the end of one, after I'd been getting them for a couple of weeks, it said, "Come to our Train the Trainer." And this voice came into my head and said, "You need to take this training because one day you're going to work with the younger you." Now, the younger me, that's a long list. We all have them. If you're, of any age past, I don't know what, 20 something, you have some history. You have some things that have happened, some journeys you've gone on. So again, it's 2012. My life was kind of a mess. And I thought, why not? Why not do this? And there were lots of reasons that the other voice in my head said, well, you shouldn't do it because you're an introvert. You don't go to big gatherings like this. You don't like to be around a lot of people. You're not a teacher. You're not a professional in whatever this needs to be to become a trainer. So maybe you shouldn't do it. But I answered the other voice. I picked up the phone because that's how you did it then. And I registered to take this course. It took me a couple years to actually become a trainer and to actually get out and start sharing my story. And after I worked on it for a couple years, the voice came back in and said, "It's time to work with the younger you. That's why you did this, because one day you were going to work with the younger you." I approached the domestic violence center. I grew up in a home filled with domestic violence, so I had experience at it. Now I had this program, so I thought, oh, here's my audience. And they said, no, thank you. I approached the Rape Crisis Center when I was 22 years old. I was involved and became a survivor in a serial rape. And I approached them and said, I got through one of the deepest, darkest times in my life with some tools, and now I have better tools, and I'd love to share this with some of your people. And they also said, no, thank you. And I literally looked up and I said, what do you want? You told me I'd work with the younger me. It took a lot for me to get here and come up with the courage to make room for this, but I've done it. And now I don't get it. I don't understand. About that time, I was talking to a friend of mine and she said, Rebecca, could you teach this program to kids? I said, it's not a kids program. And she said, I know, but could you make it one? So I went to visit her and she was working at the Homeless Families Foundation. And when I walked in, I saw on the most prominent shelf Mike Dooley's children's book, Dreams Do Come True, All They Need Is You. And I looked at my friend and said, are you setting me up? And she said, what are you talking about? She said, come on, let's go meet the kids. So we went upstairs, met the kids. And as I turned to leave, because I still wasn't sure I was going to be able to do this, there was a giant mural on the wall of the cover of this book. And as I read the tagline, All They Need Is You, the voice came back into my head again and said it with me. And I started to cry because I knew that's why I had taken the program. That's why it said someday you'll work with the younger you. And as I was driving home, I had to pull over because I remembered that at 19, I was homeless on the streets of Los Angeles. So of course, I'm going to go to the Homeless Families Foundation and help those kids move through this period of their life with an empowerment program, which is what the foundational program is, Infinite Possibilities. And I was going to rewrite this for kids. This is me speaking at a conference, the Infinite Possibilities Conference, and showing who I was when this all began, which was the turtle. I kind of became famous as the turtle because I hid in my shell. It took me 2 years to actually come up with the courage to get in front of people and speak, but I did. And so that's me delivering a speech in a turtle costume, by the way, and speaking to all the introverts and people in the room who are empaths or HSPs, highly sensitive people. Oftentimes, when you grow up in an environment of abuse, you become a highly sensitive person. And I see that as the kind of gift you get from growing up in that kind of environment. So I began the I Believe in Me program. The year after, I had trainers approaching me and saying, could you train me? Could you train me? Could we use your materials? And so I began to train other trainers. So now we're a few years in, and this program is available to other trainers worldwide. And then when COVID hit, I literally gave it to all the trainers. I just said, here's all my stuff. And there are 3,000 Infinite Possibilities trainers working with empowerment programs worldwide right now. And it's available to all of them to use. So that's kind of the beginning and middle part of the story.
Wow. So how did you come and turn into a turtle? I got to know this story.
Well, I was the turtle. I was a very quiet child. I was a very quiet young adult. And I didn't take the Infinite Possibilities program to empower myself until I was 55. So I was 55 when I first took that program in 2012. So yes, if you can do the math, that means I am going to be 67 this year. And, it's continuing to unfold and blossom in ways I never imagined. So an empowerment program is just what it sounds like. It's something to help you understand that managing your mind is important to get where you want to go in life. What do you think about? What do you believe? What kinds of action steps are you taking every day aimed at your goal? Most of the time when I was a therapist before all of this, people would come to me and tell me all about what they didn't want. And I always had to say, but what do you want? So if you come up with what it is you do want and create the intention that you're going to have it, and you set your internal GPS, it's just like the GPS in your car. You've got to set the end goal. What do you want? Where do you want to go? What is it you want to have, receive, feel? And then every day you take baby steps in that direction. But you also have to manage your mind in that process every day, all day. And once you form a habit of it, it's not that hard. And the next thing you know, kind of everything you want starts to come true, and it's kind of crazy cool.
Hi, my name is Justin Clark, and I'm the president of the board of directors for Driving Single Parents, a 501c3 nonprofit serving the citizens of San Antonio and Bexar County, Texas. I'm here today to tell you a little bit about the great work that our organization is doing for the citizens of San Antonio. What you're about to see is just a few photos and videos of the way that we're changing lives for single parents in and around San Antonio, Texas. Our first giveaway took place in April of 2017, just one short month after the formation of our organization. John, a Bexar County resident, was the victim of a horrible drunk driver incident. He and his daughter survived the crash, and we were so proud to give our first car to this deserving family. Fast forward to 2020, a very difficult year for nonprofits. We were able to secure 4 vehicles for single parents in need. Our organization, including our board of directors, list of partners, and portfolio of people we've been able to help in San Antonio, continues to grow, and it's all thanks to donors and local community organizations that have helped us along the way. This giveaway took place in 2021, and shows that we continue to help single parents even after the struggles brought about by COVID-19. Because of limited funds and the overwhelming need, we at Driving Single Parents are incredibly selective with the people we help. Some are victims of domestic violence. Others had a spouse pass away tragically or otherwise fell on hard times. These single parents show adversity in the face of challenge and aren't looking for a handout. We offer a hand up and help get them back in the driver's seat. Many of the single parents we help go on to graduate college, get promotions, get married, mentor others, and some have even been so touched by the gift we gave them that they have decided to join our board of directors to pay it forward and ensure the continued growth of our organization. If you would like to help our organization continue to grow and continue to help single parents in need in San Antonio, Texas, and Bexar County, Texas, we would really appreciate your support. Please visit us online at www.drivingsingleparents.org. Thank you.
It is crazy cool, and I totally am with you on all of this because I believe in that. I believe you decide where you want to go, and then you figure out the steps to get there. And then by taking action every single day, that's how you can achieve your goals. So I 100% agree. Do you have people approach you all the time and say, "But I don't know what I want"? Do you have this problem?
I did. So before this happened, yes. But I know now when I am in conversation with people, I simply steer it. And I even wrote something recently on Facebook about, speak to me not of your anger and your hate. Speak to me of your love and your dreams and your desires and your gratitude. And, kind of wrote a lengthy poem about it. So it's just who I've become and the way I tend to steer a conversation. I definitely want to hear what's being said and I want to feel what you're feeling. But if you're looking for, any kind of feedback on how to get to where you want to go, you need to know what that is first. And a lot of people do not know. They have no idea. In fact, what I hear more than anything is, I don't know what I want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's
Well,
exactly what I hear.
That's hard to manifest.
Yeah.
It's waiting for you to give it some direction. And if you're sitting with, I don't know, then it's waiting for you to come up with something. And I say it because I don't like to title it unless I know my audience. And then I say, so what word are you okay with here? Mm-hmm. Source, God, universe, energy, all of the above, love.
Yes. I mean, but that is the biggest question I hear all the time is like, well, yeah, but I don't know what I want. I don't know what I want. How do I figure out what I want? Because that's the whole thing is people say all the time is, well, all you have to do is once figure out what you want, and then you can do this to get there. But then a lot of people are kind of left like, how do I figure out what I want? Do you have any tips on that?
Well, the first thing is figure out how you want to feel, because it's really less about what you want to be. It's what you want to feel. And then you actually, the foundational program is called Infinite Possibilities that Mike wrote. And the reason it's called Infinite Possibilities is because if you say, I want to be an astronaut, you are giving it a specific set of parameters. You're giving your life a specific set of parameters. If you say, I want to feel enriched, safe, secure, and you can say, I want to have abundance financially and in all things in my life. You can say those things, but you really want to know how you want to feel, because that's the vibration. And that's, I hesitate to getting too sciencey, but in the field of energy, the way you bring things forward is through feeling. It's not through a specific idea word without a feeling. So for example, even if you go shopping, like you're doing it not because you need the clothes, you're doing it because you want the feeling of going shopping and getting the clothes. So, we eat because we're hungry. So, we want the feeling of being full and satiated versus hungry. And most things, if we dialed it back to how do I want to feel, we'd have better results, because you come up with surprises I didn't know this is what I was going to do, but I do remember that I knew how I wanted to feel. I wanted to feel like what I was doing mattered. I wanted to feel like something in my deepest heart was being satisfied. I wanted to feel I was being of service to others. So that's kind of how I wanted to feel. And I definitely wanted to feel as if somehow I was helping the younger me, whether it was the child or the young adult or the woman who never spoke up for herself. So I wanted to feel empowered. So I took an
Yeah.
empowerment training program.
And it seems like, hey, it worked out for you.
It
worked
really
out.
did.
So what's your favorite part of what you're doing right now?
Oh boy, my favorite part. Being of service, definitely being of service. So last year I was asked, based on the speeches I give at Mike's big conferences, about where I got to where I am in the programs that I have built. I was asked to look at an organization called Go Big to Give Big. And Go Big to Give Big is an organization where all the entrepreneurs who are involved in it, and they are all entrepreneurs, talk about and devise ways to give back. And so as an organization, they can go into other organizations and show them as a company how to be a company that gives back. So your platform has to be invited in, which I'm a founding member, to be invited in. All you have to do is show the ways you give back. So it's not unlike yours, Cindy. How do you give back? And at that time, I get a conference fee when I speak, and I was donating that. In addition, I was donating my program. And if anyone approached me, the year I turned 60, I gave my program to anyone worldwide running a nonprofit for at-risk youth. So they simply approached me, told me who they were, and I gave them all my materials. So for me, the best part of what I do is who I can help through giving what I've built, the empowerment program. If I can help kids, and I can do that through the other things that I feel passionate about, that's the best. I was sharing with Andrew before you came on and we started talking. Most recently, Go Big to Give Big, because it's an organization I'm involved with, told me about an organization called the National Network of Hearts, and a location, a safe house in Mexico that rescues sex trafficked children. Now, all they had to do was tell me about this organization, and my eyes filled with tears. Like there shouldn't even be such a thing, but there is.
Unfortunately.
So I raised money from my program sales after the conference, from my conference fee, and I donated it all to Casa del Jardín through the National Network of Hearts. And so therefore, that money went to that organization. That organization introduced me to a Child's Hope Foundation. And with one of my Spanish-speaking trainers, Luz Elena, we have not only devised ways to donate money, but she speaks Spanish. So she is training up to 10 orphanages in Mexico through a Child's Hope Foundation with the I Believe in Me program. And, that's just the best feeling. I wasn't even there to do the training. Luz Elena did the training, but it still just fills my heart that that's something this program was able to do. And it got such rave reviews that this organization that actually manages 40 orphanages worldwide is looking to have the program go into all of those orphanages. And so we're doing a training in September to bring on some new trainers to help us get this done. That's the best feeling in what I do, is not only having this program go to kids, but to be able to give it to them or fund it or make a donation to, I guess, our most vulnerable population.
Yeah. Isn't it just so interesting how when you're open for opportunity, things just start happening and doors start
They do.
opening. And it seems like that's what's happened here is you were open to opportunity in this way. And the next thing you know, just doors and doors and doors. And whenever
Yes.
you're a person of service and you're willing to give back and help and give your time and give your energy and give your knowledge and give your finances, anything that you can do and you're of service like that, it's just incredible how many doors open to help you continue to help those who need help.
Yes.
Yeah.
And, that's like one of the bigger ways, but some of the smaller ways are equally as, and they're not small, but it might be like an individual. When I was working with the Homeless Families Foundation, because I did spend 2 years with those children developing the program and redoing the edits and asking the kids, what do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Like, I had them help me, which by the way, in and of itself is empowering. And so, and I just lost my train of thought for a second.
That's okay. No
I
worries.
yeah. Oh, there was a girl that came in one day and one of the teachers approached me and she said, could you take Lorraine into your class? And I said, well, we're almost halfway through the class. I'd prefer to take her in the next session so she gets it from the beginning. And she looked at me and she said, Rebecca, she doesn't speak. And whatever you do, don't touch her. We really, really want her to join your class. Well, I knew immediately exactly what she was talking about. And as I shared in the beginning, the reason I took Mike's training in the first place is because this voice said I would work with the younger me. And then I created this kids program and then I took it to the Homeless Families Foundation. Well, now not only was I speaking to the younger me as a group, the homeless kids group, this was me as an individual, the silent group with abuse individual. So she came to the class and although she didn't speak, she sat through it. She came in this giant, like extra large adult hoodie with her hands jammed down into the pouch. And she sat there and I thought, gosh, I want to reach her so much. I want to be able to reach her. But I knew not to force it, just let it organically unfold the way it did with a room full of kids who were all happy to speak in her place because they spoke up a lot. And by the end of the course, she was sitting not with her arms jammed in her pouch, but up on the table. The hood was back. She was engaged. She was smiling. She wasn't talking, but she was clearly involved in what was being said and shared. On the very last day, we have a graduation party and I play music and we all show the videos of the rap song, which I'll talk more about in a little bit. And as part of the program, they learn a rap song. And on the last day, I show a video of them because each week they learn a verse and I shoot video of it and we put it all together and they watch it at the end. So the class was over. They all got goodie bags. There's a new I Believe in Me fun book manual in there that they can take home. There's a t-shirt that they can take home with I Believe in Me on it. And they typically take their t-shirt out and put it on over their clothes. They're oversized so that they can put it on. So Lorraine took her t-shirt out and held it up and she looked at it. And then she looked down and she realized it wasn't going to fit over this giant hoodie. So she set it down, took off the giant hoodie for the first time since she's been in class, which is now about 6 weeks, and put on her t-shirt and started dancing with all the other kids. And I thought, oh my gosh, I reached her at least a little bit. So I'm cleaning up from the party and I suddenly feel someone standing behind me. And yes, and I look and she's standing there and I didn't know what to do or say because again, we've never spoken. I just said, hi, Lorraine, can I help you with something? And she walked up and she was kind of rubbing her hands. She looked up into my face and she said, I just wanted to know if I could give you a hug. And that is actually my favorite single thing that ever happened in all of my years of work in the program, was knowing that I had reached this little girl and that she could actually speak to me, that she actually wanted a hug from me. So I felt like the program reached her. We reached her.
Hi, my name is Andrew Freilich, and I believe that sometimes we all need a little bit of help. If you're in the San Antonio community and you need some legal help, call me at 210-725-4658.
Wow. So I bet you in that moment, you look at her and you go, this is what it's all for.
This is what it's all about. Oh, I was crying. I was
Oh,
totally
I can
crying.
imagine. I know I'm over here like,
Yeah,
yeah. That's a beautiful story because again, you don't know the impact you're making. You're trying to make an impact. You know you're making an impact. You're working on impact. But then when you see a moment like that, it's like, boom, there it is, right there. The younger
There it
you,
is.
you just did it.
There it is.
You just did it. That voice that's been telling you was meant for that moment. So it's just a
Exactly.
beautiful story. Thank you so much for sharing that. It's
You're
beautiful.
welcome. I
So
think
tell
one of
us
the
what
other
else. Go
okay,
ahead.
one of the other favorite times I was going to say is
Yes.
so when I first started teaching the course, it was only middle school students. And eventually the director approached me and said, we have 40 more students who are younger, they're elementary school age. So could you share the program with them? And I thought, oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? Because I said, how old are they? She said 5 to 8. I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, no sooner did I create the intention that somehow I was going to now dial this back even a little bit more than these characters showed up in my head. These are the Ippy kids. And they literally landed in my head. There's one for each session. Their names match the name of the session, like Hero of Happiness, Bella Believes, Emotion. Exactly. So these are the Ippy kids drawn up for animation. The dolls themselves are right behind me. So they each also came in with a verse to a rap song. And this is another one of those moments where I looked up and went, yeah, I'm not doing that. I am not rapping. I am not doing a rap song. I'm not singing a rap song. And of course, it loves that challenge. So I began doing a rap song in front of the kids in the class. And when I speak, I always finish it with the rap song. And I think it's the thing that makes people jaw drop a little bit. Again, I'm going to be 67 this year. And sometimes when my other trainers are sharing online programs with kids, I come in and I do the rap song for the kids because some of my trainers are still not learning the rap song. They're adamant about not doing it. I said I wasn't doing it, but the voice said, yes, you will, because this is going to be an important component to your program. The kids are going to love it. And each verse is the chapter in summary. So if you can remember, thoughts become things. That's what they say, no matter who you are, each night and every day. So think about what you think about, what you think, say, and do, because thoughts become things from your mind into the world, and then they come back to you. And of course, there's music, and I dance, and it's kind of crazy. And yes, that was me delivering the rap to a professional women's education organization. And I start off in my blazer, and I do the first part of the talk. And then at the end, I switch to my pleather jacket and my funky sunglasses, and I rap and I do this crazy thing that just makes people laugh. So it makes the adults laugh, but the kids remember it. Last year, I went into Homeless Families Foundation to drop off a donation check I had received in the mail. And a beautiful young woman approached me and said, hey, aren't you the I Believe in Me lady? And I said, yes, I am. And Andrew, if you could put back up that slide of me with the group of the kids. There's a young woman who was one of my students in that group. She's in the upper left corner, the one with the knot on top of her head. So this is Nia. When I taught her, she was 9. Now she's 15. This is last year. And once I said, yes, I am the I Believe in Me lady, she broke into the rap song. She did the whole thing. She had moves. It was great. She was now volunteering at the Homeless Families Foundation, working with the kids there, but she remembered the whole rap song. So if you know the verse, you know the concepts. And that was the whole point, I guess, when it got dropped into my head, because I didn't write it. It just like landed here and I had to write it down. So yeah, I guess even though it's silly as heck, probably one of my favorite parts of the program is the rap song.
That's so cool though, because it's a sticking point. It's a sticking point that gets kids excited. And then also, like you said, if they can remember the verse, then they can remember the
The
message.
concepts.
Yeah, the
Exactly.
concept. So that's really, really neat.
Yeah. And the very last verse that I deliver whenever I speak publicly is Dreamy Desires verse. And I don't rap it, I speak it. And it's dreams are important, they are wishes of the heart. Each of us is different, but we all play a part. So make the world a better place by living out your dream. Share your talent and your passion. Be heard, be seen. And of course, since I begin my speech with, I was a quiet person who never spoke up, to rapping and then, delivering that at the end, it usually has the impact that I want, which is to help people understand no matter where you've come from, no matter what you've been through, you can make
Yeah.
a difference. You can make a difference. You can help somebody. You can be of service to someone. And the more you do it, the more things, and you know this from all your shows, the more you do it, the more things just land in your lap and go, and this, and this, and this.
100%. Well, in the
Yeah.
beginning of this chat, you talked a lot about how do I feel? Like, how do you want to feel? How do you feel knowing how big of an impact you've made in this world?
Oh, I feel like whatever I want, I can have it. So be clear on what that is. So, for example, there are times I want to rest. I'll be honest. I don't always want to be caught up in the momentum of everything. So I set my intention in the morning for a day of ease and flow. And instead of, I'm going to get this done and that done and go here and go there, I'm like, just want an easy day. And I want to feel okay with that. I want to give myself permission for a week of self-care, for example. So I think waking up in the morning and knowing how you want to feel has a lot to do with the tone of your day. So if you want to feel ease and flow, but you also want to accomplish a long list of things, you can work that in. But some days I don't want to work that in. Some days I really some days I want to read a book.
Yeah. No, I
You
can
know?
totally relate. I'm like that. A couple of weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take the week off. Like, I'm just
Yeah.
going to take the week off. I'm not going to work. I'm going to sit in bed. I'm going to just, veg out. And then that's once you get past that point, the next thing you know, inspiration, more and more and more. But again, if we rush people like us who are like busy all the time and doing all kinds of things, if you don't take the time to rest, then instead of us being able to continue our impact, then we can burn out. So I'm really like you, where I know me and I know how I want to feel. And so I
Yeah.
say, you know what? It's time for me to sleep in today, or it's time for me to take a half a day off, or it's time for a week, or whatever it is I need. Somehow or another, I also get that inspiration to where like, you need to rest. Okay, good. Let's do it.
Exactly.
And you have to listen to your body, have to listen to all the downloads, you have to. Otherwise,
Yes.
you can't get more. It's almost like a blocking point. So you got to take care of you. I'm with you.
Well, and I've also come to realize, and I had heard this, but I had to actually practice it, that in those spaces of nothingness, if that's what you want to call it, or the pause, that's where creativity comes back in, because you're not doing, you're actually letting go of doing. And that's when new ideas come into play. New thoughts, new creativity, new ideas. So the breaks are important. And again, there are even days where the idea starts coming in and I'm like, nope, you're going to have to wait a couple days. I'm not ready for a new idea. Because once I get it, then there's that whole momentum that starts on its own. It's like it takes on a life of its own. And I'm like, oh, I could do this. I could do that. I could call this person. I could connect with that person. And if I'm in the middle of resting, I don't want to. So I oftentimes have to talk within myself about my own boundaries.
I noticed that with me, whenever I get that, where I'm like, I'm on an off day and I'm like, nope, no idea today. Nope. I've noticed that if I just write it down, my brain will leave me alone for a minute. I'll just write, okay, I'll write it down and then I'll go back to it. I promise. And then it goes away. And then I can come for a while and then I go back to it and read it like, oh, wow, when I'm ready. So that same thing, I do the same exact thing, because like you said, we can, and no matter where you're at in life or who you are or what you do, us humans are so busy now. You're so busy in the day to day that it can take away from you having the time to have that inspiration or have that new idea, because you're too caught up in the doing. And so I try really hard to not get caught up in the doing ever. You do what you got to do, and you take care of your business. You have a little checklist, make sure we get the things done need to get done, but also not get caught up in the doing.
Exactly. Creating the boundaries for space are just as important as the to-do list. In fact, maybe more important.
More important. I
The
agree.
to-do list writes itself pretty much. But the taking a break space doesn't happen unless you create it.
It's so true. Well, I want to move on to my little gift questions. So I ask every guest on the show 2 questions. One is, can you give the audience an example of a little thing that they can do in their community that might just be a little give on their end, but might make a big impact on the other side?
Ooh, it's such a long list, really. I mean, it can be as simple as a smile and a compliment as you're checking out at the grocery line. It can be that simple. It can also be whatever it is that you currently do or know how to do or feel passionate about. Is there a place you could volunteer that energy or donate that energy? Because those are small things that really don't cost anything. I have shared with several people I know, like, you're really good at this. Have you ever considered doing a video training series? Because, for a lot of us, all this video stuff didn't happen until 2020. We still got together in person, and now everybody Zooms everybody. And, but also it's pretty easy to either teach or learn something with your phone or your computer. So if there's something you're really good at, make a short video on that. And you could put it on YouTube or even on Facebook and just say, if you want to know how to do this, here's my video. And there's obviously more details to that, and charge $4.99 or $9.99 and then donate the money. So those are the kinds of things that you can do that are pretty easy, really. And people are going, but I don't know how to do any of that. I didn't even know how to do a PowerPoint when I took Infinite Possibilities as a trainer when I was 55. And now, obviously I've learned how to do that and so much more. So there are things we can learn how to do. But what I like is, what do you feel passionate about? What are you really good at? Is there somewhere or with someone that you could donate a little of your time to express that would be helpful, that would be of service? That's one of the things I think that not a lot of people think about, because they think, well, I'm just this. But there are lots of things I do not know how to do. And so I go on YouTube and I look it up. How do I fix the coffee machine that keeps telling me it needs to do this thing that I don't even know what that is? So, you can be one of the people that creates one of those, or a language, or, whatever it is, again, that you feel passionate about. Is it art? Is it dance? So that's one of the things. And then again, just compliments. Reach out to someone. I recently saw something on Facebook and it's really stuck with me. It's about a dad who, when his son comes home from school, he doesn't say, what did you do today? He said, who did you help today? And I thought, how awesome is that? If we teach our children from the very beginning, but if we're teaching it of our children, we should be doing it ourselves. So I'm always a walk the talk kind of person. Who have we helped today? And sometimes help is something as simple as writing them a note, just thinking about you, how much I appreciate you in my life. Those are simple things, and they make you feel good. So it's not just for them, it's for you too.
Exactly. Everybody can win. And that's the thing, is everybody can win. Everybody with little gives. I love that.
Yes. Little gifts.
What about, can you give us an example of a time in your life where somebody did something little for you that might've just been a little give on their end, but really made an impact on you and in your life?
So this is one that is both little and really big all at the same time. I shared with you that when I was 22, I was I became a survivor in a serial rape case. And I was deeply depressed after that for all the reasons you can imagine. And I literally sold everything I had and I moved. Like I moved to a city and a state where I had lived before. I had a friend there. And so I was basically starting over. I needed to leave all of that over there and do something else. So I didn't have a job yet. I was looking for an apartment without a job. That's always fun. So I moved into a house with two other people and I was just, renting a bedroom in this home. And the woman trusted me and said, when you get the money, you can pay your rent. And oh, by the way, and here's the part that just knocked my socks off. Here's a toothbrush and toothpaste because she knew I didn't even have that. That was a small thing. But after that, like once I was married, my husband traveled a lot and I said, collect all the little shampoos and soaps and all those things. And I would periodically take them down to the homeless shelter, or there was a dry cleaners up the street that collected it and they would take it down. So that toothbrush at that moment felt like the biggest thing on earth. Yes, she was letting me live there rent free until I had a job, but it was the toothbrush. It was like this little personal dignity item that, so you can go to the dollar store and buy toothbrushes and drop them off at these shelters and places in your city, your town. And I guarantee you, whoever gets it, that's a big deal.
Big deal. Yeah. My husband always says, a dollar is no big deal unless you don't have one. So if you could take that dollar you do have and go to the dollar store and get a toothbrush and give it to somebody, or a bar of soap, or those small things like that really can, like you said, that dignity, that personal item that should all of us take for granted, that we can go into the restroom and brush our teeth right now if we wanted to. We take that for granted. And some people, they simply don't have that. So thank you for sharing that. I really love that little give. You got me teary-eyed a couple times here today, which doesn't happen that often in this show, 2 times in one episode, but it happens every now and again. Thank you so much for sharing everything that you've shared today. Can you tell the audience about a nonprofit that you're excited about?
Okay, I did mention it as I was talking, so I'll share again. And that is a Child's Hope Foundation and or the National Network of Hearts. The Child's Hope Foundation, I know Andrew's got up on the screen for us. That is the organization that manages these 40 orphanages worldwide. And at the moment, if you go to my website, IBelieveInMeForKids.org, I have a donation page, and any money that is donated via that page right now is going to the trainers that are going into those orphanages and setting up and delivering the I Believe in Me program for the staff and the caregivers. So the staff and the caregivers then deliver it to the children. We thought, for example, we'd be going in and working with the kids, but what we've discovered is in some of these very vulnerable locations, they have a staff or caregivers that they trust, and it's better to share it with them. And then they have those materials ongoing to help kids through their emotions, to help them feel good about themselves, to help practice empowering practices, if you will, on a regular basis. So the money that's donated right now is all being used to pay those trainers to go in and work with those orphanages worldwide.
Love it. Thank you for sharing that nonprofit with us and the other ones that you've spoken about today as well. There's just so many wonderful nonprofits out there that people don't know about. So that's why I love that people come on and talk about nonprofits I've never heard of, and that means the audience may or may not have heard of it as well. So thank you for sharing that. Why don't you tell the audience where they can reach you and find out more about you if they're interested in getting to know more about you and your courses?
Okay, so I have 2 major websites. The one you're looking at right now, IBelieveInMeForKids.org and RebeccaPsigoda.com. So if you go to either of those, you can get all the information you probably are interested in finding about me. I would like to plug one more organization because it's the one responsible for getting me started in all of this, and that's tut.com with Mike Dooley. If you haven't heard from Mike, who Mike Dooley is, you can go to tut.com. check out who he is. He's got about 20 books out there. He's a New York Times bestselling author. But twice a year, he runs the program that I trained in originally. And that's where I built my programs, both I Believe in Me and Infinite Possibilities for the Well-Traveled Soul, which I didn't talk about. And Infinite Possibilities for the Well-Traveled Soul is the same thing. It's an empowerment program, but it's for dementia patients, seniors, people who have no hope left. They've been in an accident. They've gone through a horrible illness. They've had cancer or something. It's a way to walk them back to a place of hope. And so it's a lot of the same concepts, just written for an adult audience that's lost hope. And that program, once again, is Infinite Possibilities for the Well-Traveled Soul. You can find out about that on my RebeccaPsigoda.com page. There, it has its own page. So that's how you can find me. That's how you can check out some of the organizations that I've been involved with or am currently involved with.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing everything you've shared today. Everybody, she gave you all the details on where you can find her and everything she's about and all the things that she's doing. So I encourage you, go visit her website, find out more. And if you're excited about any of the nonprofits that she mentioned today, please go visit those websites as well. Just go make a donation of $1 or $5 if you're passionate about the nonprofit. It can really, really go a long way, multiplied by the many people we have watching the show today. Thank you all so much for watching today. And Rebecca, thank you for being on. You really shared some amazing stories and some great insight with us today. And I just cannot wait to continue to follow your story from here on out.
Thank you, Cindy. And thanks so much for having me. I love being able to share what's happened, mostly because I believe everyone has a story. And I believe everyone has the capacity to give in some way. And so thank you for having such a great program that showcases these ideas.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. And I cannot wait to stay in touch. I appreciate you and everybody who's watching today. I encourage you to go find out more about Rebecca and all she's up to. And we will see you all next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of Little Give. If you would like to learn more about how I highlight ordinary people doing extraordinary things to help others, or maybe you'd like to be a guest, or maybe you know a nonprofit that you would like to see featured on a future episode of Little Give, you can find all the information on our website at littlegive.com. If you'd like to get involved with our kindness clip segment, please do send in those videos. Send them via email to cindy@littlegive.com. Or you can tag us on any social media under Cindy Witteman or #LittleGive. If you'd like to know more about our podcast, you can also find us on all major streaming platforms under Little Give Podcast. Please do find our Facebook group under Little Give TV show and join it. We'd love to keep you up to date with future episodes. Thank you all so much for watching, and I can't wait to highlight the next ordinary person doing extraordinary things to help others. See you next time.